You asked us questions. We're going to answer them. Sam's not here. He's probably here when you watch this, but he's not here right now when we're recording this. So let's go.
So these next set of questions have to do with family dynamics. The first question is, why do families have different rules when it comes to dating? I think for this question, each family is different, and I think each person is different. So the rules that each family has is kind of on a, basis to basis situation. And, at the end of the day, your parents just have your best interests at heart. And the rules that they have set in place is because they want what's best for you. And, they also have a lot more life experience than you do. So that's another thing to keep in mind too. But if it comes to the point where there's a topic that you disagree on and you want to have a conversation about it, then have that conversation. But I think the important thing to remember is to be open and honest with them, and do it in a respectful manner, so that way that you and your parents are not getting heated in the situation, but rather actually listening to one another.
Also with that, I kind of think that different families also see like a relationship, like a dating relationship, in a different context or having different purposes too. So just know, like when you're asking your parents, if you're asking them, hey, why does my friend have the ability to date right now and I don't, or any other situation that you're like looking at, I think it's important to ask your parents, like, what do you see dating as being, or what do you think the purpose for dating? Because the more you understand how your parents see things or what boundaries they have in mind and why, I think that'll help you kind of understand too why your parents made that rule in the first place.
Yeah, and it can be difficult when you see that your friends might have different sets of expectations than your family does.
Mm-hmm.
I know my family, we couldn't date until we were 16. Like that was our rule. We had to be able to drive to our date. But other families are different, and that can be a little tough. But the most important thing, like Elizabeth said, have a conversation. As long as you guys are open with each other, it's good. So the question you asked next is a pretty good one. It says, what do I do if my parents don't believe what I believe? I don't know if that's like around faith or just have different levels of, expectations for things. And the story I think of is a story where Jesus turned water into wine. I'm not going to read the whole story, but you can look it up in John chapter 2. And in that, Jesus is at a party. They run out of wine at the party, and Mary comes looking for Jesus. And she's like, well, I know Jesus can do something about it. And Jesus is like, this is not my time. He actually says, this is not the time. And so he says he doesn't want to do it. Like, my time has not come. I'm not ready to do this. He doesn't want to do the miracle. And then Mary she ignores Jesus. And the total mom thing, she looks to everyone else in the room, all the workers, and she says, do whatever he tells you, and then walks away, which is just so funny. So, like, Jesus could have been in that moment and be like, no, I'm not going to. Like, it's not my time. But even he was like, okay. He was willing to respect his mom's wishes in that moment, though he believed something else and he knew something else. He still, didn't want to dishonor her. So I think it's important to keep that in mind when we're talking with our parents. Also, there's another passage in Ephesians that basically says, parents students, kids, whatever, make sure you still honor your parents. But I don't think you need the Bible to know that. I think that's something that we know is true anyway. Like, it's important to make sure we still honor our parents. And I think it's good to have conversations with our parents when we have these kind of disagreements. And I think that I found that in most situations I ran into with my mom, I was still able to follow what Jesus was asking me to do and honor my parents at the same time. It just took a conversation.
Yeah, I know for me, I've had experiences with my parents where we have had different views on things. And I think the best way to go about handling that is to do so in a loving way. Like, you can be respectful and you can have those conversations with your parents, and not yell, not get heated. And I think the important thing too to remember is to put yourself in their shoes. Like, imagine where they're coming from and why they're saying what they're saying. And I think that conversation will turn out a lot better than if you were to just go into the conversation super angry and yelling.